And good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Now, when you applaud or something like that, you have to do it loud enough the microphone picks it up, okay? Yeah! All right. Well, welcome. And today I'm doing a Estey and Lowrey Easy series. They call it product features class. It could be a workshop. And basically, it just means I've taken all of those models that I put in the email. It's Easy 1, Easy 2, Easy 3, Easy 4, Easy 10. You know, there's a 10P, there's an Easy P7. That's all in that same family of models. And then the Discovery 3 and the Freedom 3. I can't put 7 organs here. I don't have the technology to do that, but I was able to get 4 of them set up today. And as I go through the models, just keep in mind that I'm going to reference those instruments as I go. If I'm on an instrument that I have here, obviously it'll relate. But I may reference, for example, an Easy 4, which I don't have hooked up. But I will do that as I'm on these instruments. Because here's what you need to keep in mind. The highest model represented in this group, in this class today, is going to be the Easy 10. So anything that I talk about on the Easy 2, 1 Discovery is going to apply to that. So, and I know some of you actually have one of the larger organs. Even if I talk about something on this instrument, it all applies to your model too. It may be very basic information, maybe something you can just use right away. So I think to get things started, since I'm sitting here, let's see, what angle is that? I'll use this angle. I have to move my cart, so you're going to have to bear with me when I do that, because I got all sorts of wires here, and I'm going to have to sit like this the whole time, so my head's not cut off. There we go. We'll open up with a song to get the blood flowing, having some fun. Let's see, how about big band music? Yes? Rock and roll, boogie woogie, gospel. We'll do all 3 at once. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I'm going to use the boogie button, and then I'll do a gospel tune. How am I going to do that? Yeah, you can do whatever you want. It's called playing recreation music for fun. You do whatever you want. All right, well, thank you. Great way to open up. So what I'm going to do is start off. I have a little cheat sheet here. Okay, what I'm going to do is start off. I'm going to start over here and work my way across a little bit. So I'm going to have to move this. Just bear with me here. So the first button that I want to talk about is a button that you all have, okay? And it may be worded a couple different ways, okay? I think that's about as close as I want to get for now. I didn't think this through as much as I thought I did, huh? Yeah, I can go over the wires. Okay, and the first button that we're going to talk about, how do you like this high-tech? I feel like there was something knocking. Was that me? Did I drop something back there? Okay. Did you hear something? Oh, I thought I heard a thump. I thought I did something wrong. Knocking, all right. Okay, I'm going to have to go a little lower here. All right. Can you see okay? You can walk around me. Got me on my knees. How about that? Yes. So this is the Discovery 3. Oh, what I was going to tell you. We want to write this down. You probably use it all the time anyway. Maybe you turn it, you don't even touch it because it's on all the time. And it's on the Lowrys, it's called style setup. Okay? On the Esteys, it's called auto setup. What's the difference? Just in the title. Okay? And it's an important button. When you turn on the organ, it automatically comes on. And it's usually in the center, sort of in the middle of the organ. On the Easy 10, it's sort of in the middle on the left. On the Easy over here. Do you need a pen or a pencil? It's right underneath the screen. Let me see. Here, try a couple of these. You got two options there. I'll give you another backup just in case. Okay. Now, so it's kind of an important button because when you turn it on, it automatically comes on. And what it does simply is that when you when you press a music style that you want to use, what the organ does is it activates in red. And what it does is it sets up the instrument with an ideal setting for that style of music. So right now I have one called Standard, and in the window it says Swing Time. So that's the name of the rhythm. All right? It turned red, and then it put on a clarinet. It put on a tempo of 117. That's an ideal tempo for that style. All right? And so it's going to do that for all of those. Now, where some people don't do is they never turn it off. Sometimes you might want to turn it off. So if you turn it off, just remember anything you press from there on out, it won't change. So, if I turn it off, for example, and I have the clarinet on and I decide to put on the piano and, maybe I make a couple changes. When I go to another rhythm style like country, that setup is going to still remain. Okay? So that's just keep in mind that feature is designed to set it up with an ideal setting. Now, what the ideal setting is and what your ideal setting is may be two different things. We just talked a little about this the other day. I was playing a song the other day, and we realized maybe we needed to slow it down a little bit for that song. Okay? Because this doesn't take into account playing an ideal tempo for every song in this style of music. Okay? I can play a little brown jug with that. But if I want to play a song like go back in time to the song A Sentimental Journey, I can play it at that speed. But I've heard it performed a lot slower, yeah, So sometimes it's because of skill level, and sometimes it's because the song needs to be slower or faster, okay? So just keep that in mind. All of the models have that. It sets it up automatically. You can always change whatever one you want to do. But, just having a little fun. We'll go to the country button here.
1, 2.
It's set up with an electric guitar. In this case, a tempo 117 as well. Playing, you can change the sound anytime you want. Now here's a little tip I like to give students. Okay? The tip is, maybe you don't do this, and if you don't, this is good. If you do, scratch it. You have a piece of music up, you're playing a song. A lot of, especially beginners, we're learning out of the Conductor Magic book, that level 1 book, or the Lowrey Black Songbook's got a lot of easy play songs. If you notice, a lot of easy play songs are very short. Okay, especially the beginner one. It's done intentionally, so we want to keep it simple. When you get to the end of the song, and then what do? You're done in 60 seconds, right? Well, the little trick is, real simple tip is, play it again, but change the sound. Now you can do it like this. We put it back to guitar. Now this song is a little longer than some of the beginner ones, but if I want to change the sound at this point, you could just let it play on and just reach up and hit a different sound, or maybe while you're doing that, hold your fill in. Let it do its thing while you change it. So forth and so forth. I was going to get carried away and keep playing music. I got to do some teaching today. All right. Now, so that button is located on each of the instruments, usually near the rhythm section. Now, some of you might have, let's see. Okay. Some of you have a little, what they call an expression pedal or the volume pedal. And on that pedal, there's a switch to the right and a switch to the left. Okay, so if you have that expression pedal, you can put your foot in, and when you want the fill in, slide your foot over to the right. So as an example, guess I'll move my camera here. I got to hire a cameraman. Now you're not going to see it, but I could try to do it. Let's see here. All right, so right here is a volume pedal. To the right is a switch. To the left is another switch, okay? Now, the trouble with people have with the expression pedal is not the volume pedal itself, but it's when they have to use those switches. My face is cut off. The switches. And what happens is they tend to do this when they're playing. I'm going to use the fill-in. They go. The volume goes up and down and crazy, and then their body starts doing this stuff. And okay, the trick to that is when you're using the foot switch, set the volume, the master volume, at its maximum. Right now, I have the volume set to maximum, and I have it set to maximum here, so it's not going to go any louder than this. Okay. When I put my foot all the way in, there's nowhere else to go. So if you try to slide it and you accidentally give it more gas, you can't give it any more gas. You're already at its maximum. Okay? It's a little trick that I say to use when you want to start getting a habit of using the foot switches, both the right and the left. The right switch is the fill, and the left is usually the glide. So when I slide it, I don't have to worry about trying to keep my volume pedal in a steady spot. Okay? So I'm going to come back over here before I get to these models. A couple other features, and I've mentioned this in a few workshops and classes, okay? And that is the song feature. So a lot of you have a song feature. And all that means is if you put on the songs button, you have songs built into it. This one has 10. I believe this one has 20. We'll go over here in a minute. And most people think of those songs as just songs to listen to. Well, that's okay. That's good. But, you put on for example, good old classic Mary Ann, and just start. Mary Ann's a little slow. It takes a minute to come. Okay. The good thing about the songs is if you're a newer person in the hobby, it gives you an idea how the song goes, and then you can play it. Here's another cool thing. If I stop it and turn off the song button, I now have the setup for that song. Okay? Okay, so you said she used a lot of songs, but then you want to put on sounds. We'll get to that. But that's good. But the song feature, I think, was originally designed to just listen. It's great to hear the songs, but that feature has grown to have other benefits for the person, depending on the person. So in this case, I like to play the song, and if it's a new person that's brand new, I know I've suggested it to you a couple times, I said put on the song and just listen to it for a little bit. Because if you're playing the song, you tend to play it how you recognize the song. And then if you want that setup, you just press stop the song. And this applies to all the Lowrey organs or Estey organs. If you have a song that's playing and you just press stop, now the setup to that song is right there, and you can just continue playing from there. Now, the other cool thing you could do is you can change the sound that it gives you. But let's put the song back on for a second. I'm just curious to see something here. Oh, wrong song. Where is it? Mary Ann. Mary Ann. Here we go. Some of the organs, when you change the sound, it will change. In this case, it doesn't. It depends on the organ. We'll get to it. What's that?
I usually pick this song and I let it start and then stop it and then I'll
Then you have the setup. Yes, that's what I was saying. So yeah, so if you have the song that you're playing, let's go to a different one. When the Saints. And go, ooh, that's great. Turn that off, stop it. Now I have that setup, and then I can play the song or change the preset and sound. Okay, so on the starting point here, just a couple things on the Discovery 3, and then I'll go to the Easy 2, and I'll work my way up before I get carried away here. We have 8 of the most I think there's someone on here that has a Discovery 3, and you guys have them here. You have 8 of the most common styles of music that can work with a lot of songs. You got your 3/4. You got to have a 3/4 for all the waltzes. You got a rock, ballad, Latin. You have 8 different categories, and when you use your automatic setup, it sets it up for you, but remember, you can always change that. And then if you want to, the other cool thing is too, for a beginner's model, years ago, a beginner's model was very limited. It was intended to be so limited that most people traded out of them in 2 weeks. Okay? And a lot of times you'd have one sound you could put on for your melody. Here, you could actually put up to 3 sounds. So you have, here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. There's 10 of the most common sounds here. Pianos and guitars and strings and trumpets and so forth. Okay? But here's a piano. It's clarinet. Vibes. Okay? But if I want, I can actually put 2 of these on together by putting piano and guitar on, for example. Or piano and strings. And if I want, I can add an organ sound to it. And now I have 3 sounds on with 1 at a time. And you get these really nice big. All right. You have the 10 songs that are built in. And for another time, and I'm going to say this, I may say this several times. If I don't, write this down, remember this. Personal assistant, also known as PA. P for personal, A for assistant. And who is a personal assistant? I'm a personal assistant. Don's a personal assistant. Joni's a personal assistant. Joe's a personal assistant. Carrie, I can't forget everybody. Carrie and everybody that works on Fletcher Music Centers. Todd and Mesa. We're all personal assistants. So if you ever have a question about something we taught, you wrote it down, but sometimes it didn't sink in, and you made a note of it, that's what we're here for, okay? So one little trick that I encourage you to do if you have the Discovery 3 is, and I don't want to get too involved in it right now, but when you're playing this, let's put on a different band now. How about, we'll put on the Latin, okay? Now if you hear that Latin, you're a guitar player, a bass, and a drummer, okay? You can actually, if you think the guitar player is too loud, you could actually change the volume of that person. If you think the bass player, that's a little harder to hear the way I have this set up, but you hear that? Okay, that's the bass. Some people like a lot of bass. There's a way to adjust that bass. You want to get with your personal assistant on how you can do that for your instrument, okay? Now plug your ears. You might get a little static noise because I have to use the same chord to go from here to here. Smooth as I can do it. All right, and one more time. 1, 2, 3. Whoop. On the Easy series, everything that I talked about is applicable, by the way, okay? There is a slight difference in the way that this model was designed. And again, conceptually very similar, but a slight difference. Okay, so in here we have 6 styles of music, which are all on the Easy 4, on the Easy 10 as well. And they're grouped in the 3 different categories: a full band, guitarist, and pianist. So here it says standard, smooth, rock, 3/4, Latin, country, okay? And if I pick one of those, let's see, how about I pick smooth, okay? So there's smooth. Each category has a full band version, a pianist version, and a guitarist version. And here's what that means. A full band almost speaks for itself. It means when you have a style, you have a lot of musicians that are performing, okay? Let's see, hopefully I got my volume set still. If you listen to that, there's a piano player in there. You might have heard some strings in there. There's a drummer in there. There's more than just 2 or 3 musicians, okay? That's a full band. If I put on the pianist for that same one, now listen. It's just a piano player, isn't it? Okay? And the reason for that is many people over the years we've heard say, I always wish I could play a piano. I'm one of those. I always say in all my classes, I remind people, I started playing the piano when I was 15, and I stopped playing the piano when I was 15. Yeah, because it was a hard instrument for me to learn. I mean, I kind of got it, but it was like too much coordination. And then I got into the guitar, and I was able to pick that up. But piano takes a certain skill, because if you're playing piano, you have to do this part with your left hand and stay in sync and don't hit a wrong note. And if you hit a bad note with a piano, it stands out. And then have to play the melody and then keep this going. But here you can do that now with the background. And oops. Okay. Now, the guitarist version is the same concept, but instead of a piano player, you're going to hear a guitar player doing the accompaniment. Now, a real good guitar player, and I'm pretty good, but I can't do this. A really good guitar player plays acoustic and classical where they do a lot of the finger picking. Well, what they tend to do is they can play an accompaniment and a melody at the same time, okay? And that takes a lot of hard work and skill. Now, I can strum and play and do a guitar solo, but I never really got good at doing an accompaniment and melody. But if you listen, you're just a guitar player. So it's just a guitar player playing. And then I play the melody. Now, the piano and the guitar categories, by the way, they may start off with just a piano or guitar sound, but you can always bring in a drummer and kind of make it a full band. Now watch, here's without the drummer. Okay. So you can always make it a full band. Now, both of these models, and obviously everything above that, has full band styles, okay? The Easy has the full band pianist and guitarist. The Estey Discovery 3 and Freedom 3 has some of those styles, but some of them are listed in other categories. They both have the song feature, which plays the song, okay? On the Easy 2, the song feature, let me find a different song here. How about... oh, let's see how this one sounds. You know that one? That's nice. Or, I saw another one here that, let's see, how about, oh, here we go. This is in our beginner level class. Now, one thing you can do with these songs is while it's playing, you can play along with it. Okay? But beware, because if you hit a note that you didn't want to hit, it's going to still do the note that it goes with. So sometimes I do it on purpose and sometimes I don't. Watch. So if you have your music, if you don't hit the same note, so that song is in our Conductor Magic. And if that happens, you can always lift your hand up and let it continue on its own. Okay? So I talked about style setup or auto setup. That's feature one. It's automatic when you turn it on. It sets up the organ for you when you're playing. I talked about the songs feature. That's an important feature to use. And you used it actually the way I was going to suggest that you can use it as a setup as well, not just listening to the song. The third thing we talked about was some of the styles. So on here, for those of you who have the Easy 2s, you have 6 categories, each with 3. So you have 18 different styles that are all set up automatically. One other little feature, and then we'll move on a little bit and play some more music, that I think is important if you have it, and it starts here. It's called harmony. Okay, now it doesn't say harmony on here, but that's what it is. It's duet. Okay, if you've seen this button called duet, what that means is a harmony. Now, if you were playing or singing, and you're playing a note or singing, and another person came in to sing with you, sometimes they sing the exact same note, or sometimes they sing another note that fits, and that's called a harmony. Okay? Now, to do that, you have to be really skilled musically enough so that when you sing the other note, you sound good. Because if you don't, you both sound bad. And I go, who's the one singing the right, who's singing good, and who isn't? Well, it doesn't matter. And a harmony note is just something that adds another note that fills it up a little bit. So for example, if I just put on a string, okay, I'm playing an E note. Now watch what happens when I add a C. It's a little fuller and what have you. So on the organ, or when you're playing a keyboard instrument, it's the same level of difficulty even if you weren't a singer. If you knew how to play all your notes, let me put on a Latin here and let me put on just the strings here. Oops, let me do style setup and then switch to strings. Here we go. Oops, that's, stop it. You ever push the wrong button on your organ? No? You guys don't do that. I do it all the time. Okay, here we go. Okay, so here's the like a rumba or a begin or something. I'm going to play Spanish Eyes with one note. Okay, now a professional might do it with two notes, but you have to make sure to play the correct two notes. That takes years of experience. So, or you can just take years of experience in a button and you put the harmony on and it was hard to reach up that high, but I got it. So that's great to use when you're playing a song, you want it to be a little fuller sounding. You could put on a duet harmony. Duet plays two notes while you press one note. And question is when do I do it? Whenever you feel like it. And it's a little tricky. I think sounds like guitar, strings, organ, a vocal sound. Some of you have a vocal. Those work very nicely with the harmonies. You have to be careful with sounds like banjos that are a little harsher. Vibes can work, and you want to try to play it towards the right side. Okay? When you move over to, we'll come over for the Freedom 3, you have the same concept there. Let me move my camera over. I'm going to have to move the cart and the camera. Okay. We'll back up just a little bit. Make sure I don't disconnect from you guys. Oh. Y'all see me? Okay. So the Easy 10, Easy 4, Freedom 3 all have, and the Easy 2 have a duet harmony, which means you play two notes. Boy, there's some kids screaming out there. I was hoping that they walk a little further down the mall by now, but I'm sorry. We're in the mall here, and there's some kid that's acting like they didn't get their toy, right? Anyway, so you all have also a harmony called trio, okay, or AOC, all right? Now, AOC is Lowrey's term that they've used for many years, and originally, I could be wrong on this, but you can fact check me on this. Originally, it was called automatic organ computer, was what it stood for. I don't know why, but it's really automatic organ chord is what's become over the years. And then some people got to the point where they called it any old chord. But it wasn't. All that means is, and trio meaning three, it means when you play one note, it does three notes. Now, if you're using that harmony, here's something to keep in mind, and it's automatic. When you're playing the melody note, wherever you're playing, it'll add two additional notes to what you're doing. and it always does it below the melody note. So if I was playing this, okay, and I have the trio or the AOC on, it's going to do these two notes below it. Okay? Now, if it adds notes below it, and this may have happened to you at some point, if you're using the harmony, depending on the sound you have on, if you're playing towards this side, the sounds tend to get muddy. Well, the reason is because if you're playing here, it's adding notes below it. And next thing you know, you're getting, well, that works okay because he's using strings, but if you have like say an organ sound on here, because I'm playing too low. So if I was doing, let's see, here's a trio harmony with an organ sound down here. Yuck! Because it's a lower tone and it's adding notes below it. So we'll say, make sure to play up higher. And it sounds nice and full and rich. And if I turn that off, okay. Okay? So, oh, well, now that's a good question. So the question that I sort of got was a statement and a question. Is can't you transpose? So yes, this is something that I actually teach. I'll do this as a side note. Some of the organs have a built-in transposer. And all of our music, if you've noticed, is in the key of C or F. And it's done intentionally, so it's easy for you to play. But if you were to hear that some of these songs, if you were to match it up to the exact key, you'd find that the original song might be in the key of B flat, might be in the key of E flat or whatever. So when we're playing the notes, they don't always work in that same spot. And then if you're using harmonies. So you have a built-in, some of the organs have a built-in transposer. And all that means is it takes the sound that you're playing, the note you're playing, and it'll go up or down depending on where you transpose. So if I put on the transpose feature here, I'm playing the same note. So I'm going to say rule of thumb, is that if you're playing a song and you're playing wherever you're playing and you'd like to keep your hand in that position, but it sounds too low, transpose it up. And how far up, your ears will tell you. Because you can go 12 steps up and 12 steps down, okay? If you're playing up here or playing somewhere and it sounds too high for the ears, you can transpose it down. How far down? Your ears will tell you, okay? And that applies even if you're not using transpose. I say that I think I just told you this, and Donna, if you're playing somewhere and you're playing you don't like it there, you can move your hand up and play it up high or play it low. Your ears will tell you what works. I know some people that play up here with a trumpet and a clarinet, and it's just screeching my ears, and their hearing, it doesn't affect them. Everybody's ears are different, okay? So I'm going to just, again, say this. We've talked about auto setup, style setup, the song feature. We talked about harmony a little bit. We threw in a little bit of transpose. Transpose is great. I'm going to just put it, since I'm here, let me put it back to where it was. And I'm going to take a style here. And how about, I don't know what this is, smooth 16 beat. Oh, this might sound fun. Let me just play a song. Or a little bit of a song. Okay, now I like the way that sounds, but you know, sometimes I'll go down a couple of steps. So I'm going to put on the transpose and go. Okay, now I'll play the same thing, same notes. And I kind of like it like that.
Better.
So it just depends. Your ears will, remember, your ears are going to be a great tool for you, better than you think. Even if you're newer at the hobby, your ears will tell you all. Because what matters is how it sounds to you when you're at home playing, not what we think. Okay? Couple other features, and then I'm going to play a bunch of songs, short songs for you, okay? Song setup is another feature that I call it the $70,000 feature. And the reason why I call it that is when it first was introduced back in 2001, there was an organ that came out called the Lowrey Royale, and we listed it for $70,000. Woo! Pocket change. You know that show? We did that show. That organ, when it came out, had so many breakthroughs technology-wise. We sold in my store here in Tucson, we sold 18 of them in one show. There were so many features that they introduced on one model. I actually had a student we had an intermission and people were taking orders, and one customer, he was like a kid in a candy store. He just couldn't wait and he was getting mad because no one was taking his order. Well, we kind of warned them they were going to be on back order for a while, and this feature was a huge feature. It was called Song Setup. Now, we're kind of spoiled by it by now, a lot of students that have it, because it's been around for a while. But when it first introduced, and what it does is this. I want to play the song, She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain. I want to play the song, No Business Like Show Business. I'm just rambling off song titles. And I don't know what button to push, okay? Now, remember earlier I said you can use the song feature as a way to set up the organ. But the songs that are in here, even the Easy 10 has 40 songs in it. Okay, and this one has, I think, 30. Okay, that's a pretty good number of songs, but to me that's not enough. Song setup, on the other hand, some of the organs had a lot of titles. Now, the difference is song setup does not play the song. Okay, it's not what it's intended to do. That's what the song feature does. Song setup does exactly what it says. It sets up the organ for you to play the song with the ideal setting. So if what did I say? She'll be coming around the mountain? Okay, so if I touch song setup and I go to She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain, and I just hit select, it sets it all up, and this is what it sets up for me. And I'm down in the key of A. I'll keep it there. Now, as a side note, I encourage you to keep a notepad nearby when you're going through the song setups, because I could tell you there's a lot of times I'll find a song setup for a song that I really don't like to play. I don't like the song, but I like the setup for another song. Let's face it, you're not going to like every single song or song title that's put in an organ. You have your tastes. You have your musical tastes. So you can use it however you see fit. So for example, let me put my transpose back to where it usually is. So let me go to song setup, and let me go through, how about, all right. So here's one, and it says Over the Rainbow. Now I actually like that song, but let's pretend I didn't like that song. Okay, I'm going to hit select, and let me see what it puts on for me. This style you can use for anything. So now the rose is not one of the song setups. So, you know, I can do a song setup and choose, well, here's one. Let's see. Well, where did it go? I lost you. Oh, that's because I pushed the wrong button, no wonder. Okay, let me go to, how about, okay. So here's a song setup for a song that we play a lot because it's part of our class. It's called Love Me Tender. But instead of playing Love Me Tender, I'll play something totally different with it. Okay? Let's see. I hear those guitar players, I might think of a song like this. Some of you may have heard of a band called the Eagles. There's a hit song they had called Hotel California, which was a little faster, but at one time later on in their career, they did a slower version of it, and a lot of people fell in love with that. Anyway, my point is, song setup set it up the ideal way for that song. You can use them for other things. And the last thing I want to mention, and I want to play music in all of the models here for everybody, and then I'll tell you what I'm doing along the way, so make sure to take notes. We have also 100 song setups on the Easy 10. I got to come play over here a song, right? Okay. Tell my cameraman, move my camera back, cameraman. Okay. I sometimes, when people call and they say, is it just you here working here? I say, well, yeah, sort of. No, actually, there's 3 of us that work here, me, myself, and I. Right? Anyway, so we also have the song setups there. And one of the other thing that I like to do, tell people, whether you're using the song feature or the song setup feature, when you use that feature, what it'll do is it will deactivate the style setup button. Remember earlier, the first thing I said was, it comes on automatically. Your auto setup or style setup. It comes on automatically. The minute you press a song setup, it deactivates it. And it's done intentionally because what does style setup or what does auto setup do? Is it sets up the organ for the style of music that you have chosen. Okay? It's a setup. Well, song setup is a setup. So when I access, like right now it says style setup is on, and I'll just keep it on whatever this button. I'm going to press song setup and I'll scroll up to Alley Cat. And when I select it, you may not see it there, but I don't know if you could see that red button there. When I hit select, it goes away because now it's going into a different setup. But something that you can do while you're playing is that it's going to give me a setup. If I want to continue playing with other setups, just reach up and hit style setup and you get it. So here, we'll give you an example. He sang in tune too. Now, if I want other setups, I just push style setup back on, and now on the Easy 10, for you Easy 10 owners out there, a cool little trick here, you have style setup and you have the 5 setups. So you actually have how many setups for that one rhythm? 6, you said, right? You were thinking 6, I can tell. She had that look. I'm going to say 6. It gives you 6 setups for every single style. So in this case, if I switch over to style setup and it just start pushing the buttons, ooh, whistle. Turn it up a little bit. Now a little tip for easy 10 owners. This is something a lot of easy 10 owners use these setups when they play, and a lot of times they don't catch something happening. Whenever I pick a rhythm style, let me put on, let's see what I got here. Wonderful World, okay? And I put on style setup. It sets up the organ with a setup, like it's supposed to. I'm just going to let it play for a little bit. I'm not going to play the melody. So you got a band there. Now when I press 1 and 2, listen to the band. Listen closely. It changes the sounds like it's supposed to, but listen to what 1 and 2 does. You're going to notice it's not going to be as full. It's going to be a little more simple, easy sounding. But a lot of times the background actually changes as well. Listen closely. Okay, here we go. Here's number 1. Ooh, that's actually pretty cool. Here's number 2. Now when I go to number 3, sometimes it changes. Sometimes it goes back to the original. Okay, it goes back to number 2. It's just a guitar player. Here's 1 again. That's pretty. Well, here's the sound going. And every style that we choose will do that on a lot of them. So classical piano, let's see what that sounds like. Here we go. Well, it sounds like a classical piano. Let's put on number 1. Oh, put on a harpsichord. Number 2. Like a harp. Lute. It also sounds like a harp. It could be one harp. Harp or lute, right? Let's go to number 3. 3 puts on an organ sound. Now 4 brings back the piano. So a lot of times it'll change the background for you automatically. Okay? Well, I have about 10 more topics to talk about, but I'm going to be here for another 2 hours. So I think I'm going to wait for the next time and play some music for you, okay? So let's tell my cameraman, hey cameraman, move my camera over for me. Okay. I'll keep it like this. I'll be far away. Hopefully you got your binoculars on. I'll come around here and I'll just work my way around. And I got to see if my head's cut off. No. I'm going to fire my cameraman.
I would.
Right? Okay. Yeah, that'll work. All right. I'll play a little bit of each of these models, and then I'll tell you what I'm doing along the way. Okay? So I think what I'll do is, you know what? This model was introduced, one of my favorite styles. I don't know if I should say that because I say that about a lot of the styles. Is a Latin guitarist. I was kind of mad about this style and happy about it because, you know, I play guitar. I've been playing guitar since 16. I worked really hard to be a good guitar player, and now someone can push a button and sound like I worked really hard all in an instant. Now, another little trick that's on all of these models, by the way, make a note, and that is the organs have what's called a major and a minor introduction. And here's what that means. If you play, if you see easy play music, C, G, F, doesn't matter. C, F, G, A flat, B flat, D, doesn't matter. If you play a chord, a one finger chord that's considered a major chord, it'll give you an introduction that's really nice. If you do a minor chord, okay, and I know we've talked about that with a lot of the beginners, if you just learn one minor chord, it'll do a different introduction. I'll give you an example. This is the Latin guitar. I'm going to do a C chord. Okay. That's pretty nice. Now here's the ending. Very smooth, very pleasing. Okay, now I'm going to do the exact same same rhythm, not changing the rhythm. I'm going to play a minor chord, and listen how the guitar players, they play differently. Oh, let me put on the intro. Ready? Here we go. Let me do it again. C chord. Okay, now here's a minor chord. Different. Okay? Different sounding, okay? And that will apply to all of the models, from small all the way up to the big one. Again, that concept originally came out on that Lowrey Royale that I told you about, but not all of the rhythms did it, only some of them did. And then gradually, Lowrey and of course our Estey, beep, I'm going to keep talking, blah, 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 see if I can shadow the static noise. But eventually all of the models ended up having that. Oops, wrong button. You ever pushed the wrong button? I asked you that earlier, didn't I? Now I'm going to come on over here and let's see, one of my favorite styles that I'm going to use here. Oh gosh, I like them all. Actually, I like the rock button on here. This is fun. The rock beat on here, it's called rock 8-beat, which actually works well with a lot of great tunes if you want to have some fun. Going back into my days when I did karaoke, I swore I sounded great. I sounded much better after I had about 2 beers. Some reason. I don't know if it was the beers made me feel relaxed and I sang better, or it just made me believe I sounded better.
Or maybe it was, did you drink lemon juice that helped you?
No, I didn't drink lemon juice. I just had 2 beers. My 3rd beer, boy. The 4th beer, I sounded like I was a rock star. Or at least I thought I did.
Country music?
Yeah, and I was singing country music, right. But here's a song that's actually not that easy to sing. It's a very short song, but he sings at a certain range, or he did, should I say, for almost 2 minutes straight. Let's see if I get the beat going here. Tempo right. Okay, let me do a little faster. All right, so here's the song. You ready? Oh, what I'm doing, I push rock. I put the tempo up to 136, so it's a little fast, but you don't have to go that fast. You can play it as fast as you like, and I'm just using the sound that it sets up, which is jazz guitar, electric guitar, and a jazz organ. Here we go. Whoops. All right, have a little fun there. So that was just built right in. The only difference is I put it at the tempo that I wanted to, but your ears, your tempo works great for you. All right, cameraman, move it over. Yes, sir. Now, one thing that I forgot to do for you Freedom 3 owners out there, let me get the songbook here. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Let's see if I could find it. Is this it? No, that's not it. I have it. Oh, there it is. All right. For you Freedom 3 owners out there, cut my head off again. The headless organ player. So you have the songs that are built in, but one little clever change that they made when they designed this, let's say I want to play the song, that's a good song, that's a fun song. Oh, you know what? Good old When the Saints Go Marching In. I'm a little newer in the hobby. I'm just learning how to play. Got to get the right hand down. Got to do the left hand too. Oh my gosh. I didn't know I had to play both hands. And you got the music. I've got When the Saints Go Marching In. So you go, I'm going to put on the song feature and listen to it. But what else you could do is, while it's playing, there's a button it's called Melody Off. And if you turn that button, activate that button, it'll actually turn off the melody so I can practice the song. Yeah. Start. So we'll let it play first. This is when you call somebody and say, listen to me play. Okay, bye-bye now. Okay, and I think it repeats, but let me see if it does. I'm going to turn off the melody and play. And it changes the chords. So it's a great learning tool for those, and I know a lot of students that have, they use that, they'll play along with the song, and if you goof up along the way, you can just turn it back off, deactivate it, and then it'll continue playing the melody. I'll play one more on here, and we'll move on. This one here is got a lot of great styles on it. One of my favorites of all time it's called Wonderful 6/8. Oops. I was playing the melody expecting, I forgot I wasn't using the song feature, so I have to play the chords. I gotta play the chords, are you kidding? Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, cameraman, move me back. Oh, better not disconnect that. One time I pulled that cord out, and it took 10 minutes just to get everything back on. One little yank. Now, you know what? I'm going to try to do it this way. Okay. I'm a trained professional. Don't try this at home. I don't know. I'm second guessing myself now because this way is actually harder than doing it this way. Okay, let's see. We got a lot of fun stuff in here. Oh, you know what? This is kind of fun. There's a style on here, and I'm going to get a reaction out of you. It's called Guitar Standard, okay? It's on my Pop Guitarist, and I'll put on the introduction, and this is what it sounds like. Okay? It's at tempo of 140. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the tempo and I'm going to bring it up to about 210. Holy smokes. Now I see the look in your eyes. I don't see everybody's faces here, but they're probably going, is this guy's lost his marbles? Yes. But the way you play it, you don't play it at 200. But if you look at the thing counting, you think, oh, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. It's like really fast. Listen to it. Yeah, well, like watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You think, oh, I got to play it that fast. No. Okay. Instead, we play it in cut time, which 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Not 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. But this is how it'll work. Is I'm going to play the song, Glenn Campbell. Watch how more perfectly this works. Isn't that nice? Okay. So most time when I do that with that style, people kind of, their eyes open up. Oh my God, what is that? 200? But so hopefully you made note of that if you play a song like you, and you can play a lot of songs like, because it does that real fast, kind of folky guitar picking in there. Well, I hope you enjoyed today. It was a little bit of a challenge for me. I was a little nervous because I thought, I've got 6, 7 models represented, and some people have bigger organs and smaller organs, whatever, and I try to make it so I at least teach something. If you walk out here with at least one thing that you can take home and put, then we've done our job. Maybe 2. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed my little presentation, demonstration, and education, and all that good stuff. And remember, if you have any questions about the stuff and how it pertains to your model, get with your PA, your personal assistant. You guys have 3 of them, me, myself, and I. So anyway, thank you so much, everybody. Nice seeing you
Goodbye.
online. Stay safe, keep
Bye,
playing
Robert.
music, and bye, guys.
Bye.